Have you ever wondered about those who dream of a better life versus those who create it? Are you waiting to accomplish your dreams and goals? Welcome to Create It Now. With your hosts, Jonathan Stone, Dawn Elizabeth, and the business hypnotist, AJ Boyden. For the next 60 minutes, we're going to put your dreams into motion and create it now. The phone lines are open at 731-1230. That's 731-1230. Or toll free 1-866-820-5528. That's 1-866-820-KLAV. Now let's bring on the host and create it now. Here is Jonathan Stone, Dawn Elizabeth, and AJ Boyden.
Welcome to the Create It Now radio show. This is AJ Boyden. I'm in studio here with Jonathan Stone, and today we've got a pretty cool show for you. When I first heard about Leila Steinberg, she's going to be coming on a little bit. I was like, okay, well, what's this all about? And I Googled her, and I saw this video, and oh my gosh, I am totally inspired. I'm very excited about that. And yet she'll be coming on in just in a few minutes there. But in the meantime, how you doing, Jonathan?
I'm doing great, AJ. Thank you. How are you?
Fantastic. What you been up to this last week?
Oh, just in the studio, having an amazing time. We had a great show yesterday. I hope everybody caught that with Thomas Baylor, Elisa Furr, and Heidi Thompson. That was a blast.
A lot of fun.
And Dawn is with us today again. She's out there making money and speaking and changing people's lives all over the place.
I know we haven't done the show that long yet, and yet with her gone, it already feels like there's something missing already, doesn't it?
Like a female? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a boys' club in here. Exactly. So now we can talk about her.
So
Leila, I've known her for years, and she is absolutely amazing, and people, you're going to love her.
Jonathan, you know so many people. How is it that you've got these connections? And when I find out about these people and I talk to them, they like love you. They love you. How do you make these connections?
Well, basically, you just sleep with the right people and get to where you are. And if you don't, you have somebody in your family do that for you. No. I've been really fortunate to run in amazing circles and always believed, even if I've been in a funk or a bad time, these people have always brought me there. I've met like these angels or people that bring blessings. My family has been amazingly supportive and stuff. And even the worst of times, like my father, who never gives up.
Yeah.
With everything, most tenacious man I've ever met, and just keeps making me push. And as you push, people introduce you to other people. Mm-hmm. And, you don't even ask. One day you'll just be somewhere and somebody will call you and go, so-and-so asked me to give you a call and said you're really positive, or you get invited to a party. And next thing you know, you're just meeting some great people. Or even when I met Les Brown, I just went to a Les Brown seminar, and next thing you know, he's sitting next to me. Yep. So it's like, it's fate. It's like manifesting it. You're putting it out there to have these good people in your life, and for some reason, I guess I draw them in, or they draw me out.
I think it's the key there. It's just that you think about it and you desire it and you put it out there. And so, we get back what we put out, right?
Oh, absolutely. Because if you just hang around dark people, we've all done that. You go back and forwards. I mean, let's be honest, mm-hmm. And then you're stuck. But when you start cutting these people out of your life and want good, mm-hmm. and you want kindness and you want nice, all of a sudden they do appear. And it's up to you if you want to take it. And I was thinking about like time today, and they go to everything you want to do to get in shape, or everything takes forever. But actually, it's all in a minute. The minute you decide to start anything is when everything happens. And so we always go, I'm going to do this next week. I'm going to do this. It's always, we think about how much time, but anything basically takes a minute to make a change and to create. So when you want to go into that better frame of mind to create, a new future and meet good people, it just takes a minute to be positive and be happy instead of just being negative all the time.
Absolutely. Be ye transformed in a twinkling of an eye, right?
I like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just one moment. It's just one moment to make that decision, right?
No, absolutely, and I agree. So you saw the Leila thing.
Yeah.
You know, what inspired you about her? And then, because we're going to play a little promo for Leila in a few minutes, but
Sure.
just so,
A little
because I know
introduction.
Leila, and I've actually seen her at work and what she does, and work with these children and underprivileged kids and gangsters and just change their lives. So what about her being a guest that inspired you?
Well, I've been thinking about my career and just how it formed and how it transformed. And, perhaps later we'll get into a little bit deeper story so our listeners can get a little background there. And yet, when I was a teenager, I was going through a lot of teenage angst. In fact, I was on antidepressants, I was suicidal, and all of a sudden a man came into my life. The student was ready and the teacher appeared. And, really what it was is just a lot of confusion about my place in the world, who I am, how do I fit in, wanting to express but not expressing well, all those sort of things. And when I learned to communicate better to myself and communicate to others, it transformed my world. And that's really what she's doing. So in a minute here, we're going to play an audio of one of the projects that she does called Mic Sessions. And so Leila was the manager for Tupac Shakur.
He ended up on her couch, and she will tell you the whole story about this and the whole background. It's amazing.
Okay, so
we don't want to give away any surprises.
No spoilers.
Yes.
No spoilers, but you just got to listen to this audio so you get an idea of her mission and how she's transforming the world. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this.
In the fall of 1989, an artist could no longer tolerate the pain of a silenced generation. She decided to make a difference. Out of her small Bay Area living room, she birthed the movement using poetry, rap, song, dance, and theater. Her name was Leila Steinberg. Her vision, to transform the role of artists from entertainers to world leaders. Her call was answered when a soft-spoken 17-year-old stepped through the door. His name was Tupac Shakur. With each weekly session, Tupac questioned, challenged, and debated the words of his mentor. So began the rise of a legend. Since Tupac, thousands have experienced the sessions. These are their real-life stories. This is not a shot at pop stardom. This is the workshop of a generation. These are the microphone sessions.
What's hot? A lot of chameleons out there trying to change up. Anytime something new comes along, everybody wants a bite. Don't happen overnight.
You want to own the world, you want to be a star, you have to own the mic. The microphone sessions is the workshop, an opportunity, a platform for new artists to develop. I give weekly assignments.
Wednesday is abuse.
I give you writing assignments that you better turn into a rap, a song, a poem, your piece, your art, and you better deliver it. Whether you are a country artist or a rapper, a rock artist or a reggae artist, anybody has the chance to prove to the world that they are it.
Microphone sessions will follow the lives of 8 students over 12 weeks, as each student uses their real-life issues as artistic fuel in weekly performance sessions. Not only will the audience be witness to the creative process inside the sessions, the series will also go behind the mic and give the viewer a glimpse into the harsh realities of the everyday lives of our students and how these realities fuel their art. During the 12-week series, the students will be visited by pop icons like Mos Def, Fiona Apple, Marilyn Manson, Terrence Howard, and Kanye West, who will perform the assignments along with the students, allowing them to get in touch with their artistic roots and be open to the same scrutiny and debate that each student undergoes. These are the stories of the real-life artists. These are the microphone sessions.
My brother actually passed away a couple months ago. This piece is for him. When my brother, he got on a destructive path in high school. He fell into, doing cocaine, and he started doing that. I couldn't respect that. I sold, So what happens is my brother snapped somewhere down the line, and off cocaine, he committed suicide.
Damn, your face was in it. That's your business, but you placed me in it. When I saw my sister's hands up, face just in it. Just makes me want to get a gun and face you with it.
I'm not a drug dealer anymore. I'm not a gang banger anymore. I'm none of these things no more. I changed my life. I'm a musician. I'm an artist. If one child in this room walks away feeling like there's somewhere to go, something worth living for, that there's a sense of purpose in their life, we've accomplished something.
So right after this word from our sponsors, we're going to have Leila Steinberg online here, and so I am looking forward to this. You are listening to Create It Now radio show. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/createitnow, or our website, createitnowmedia.com. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Hi everyone, this is New Media Vegas, your Sin City webmasters in Las Vegas, Nevada.
More than just web design, complete integrated marketing with inspired innovations in delivery of your new media message, putting the groove and the backbeat back in your brand.
The hottest in design trends with the latest innovations in marketing techniques. Call New Media Vegas at 702-517-0184.
Or visit us online at www.newmediavegas.com. Don't forget to check out our online magazine, Sin City Presents, featuring business, technology, fashion, dining, and entertainment news.
702-517-0184. 702-517-0184. We're blowing it out at Gene Woods Racing Experience, Las Vegas's newest premier outdoor adrenaline-powered gasoline go-karting track with speeds in excess of 45 miles per hour if you've got the balls. We've got 2-for-1 Tuesdays, buy one and your friend rides free. We've got $5 off coupons, and remember, on your birthday, members ride free. And they get a free Gene Woods Racing Experience t-shirt, open Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. till 11. Saturday and Sunday, noon till 11. And we're located at 121 East Sunset Road and Las Vegas Boulevard at the Sports Center across from McCarran Airport. Come blow the doors off your competition at Gene Woods Racing Experience. Once you race here, you won't go anywhere else. Be there. Be there. Be there.
Those who can do. This is Create It Now. Here again, your hosts, Jonathan Stone, Dawn Elizabeth, and A.J. Boyden.
Welcome back to the Create It Now radio show. If you're just tuning in, we are here with Jonathan Stone, and I'm A.J. Boyden. We've got a guest coming up, and if you're new to our show, this show is all about creating it now. Instead of just dreaming it or having goals and saying, I wish I woulda, shoulda, coulda, and all those sort of things. It's about what action steps we can take to make our dreams our reality.
Make it happen.
Yeah, and our next guest is doing that for so many amazing people. Jonathan, can you introduce our guest?
Yeah, so our guest today is Leila Steinberg. I've known her for quite a few years, and she's absolutely amazing. She has the biggest heart. She is just wonderful, and I can't wait for everybody to hear her story. And Leila, are you there?
I'm here.
How are you today?
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. And then we can't wait for you to come out here. I guess you're going to be out here next month.
Yeah, I have the Life is Beautiful Festival. I have an artist performing.
Right, so we're going to have to bring you in here live with your artist.
Awesome.
Okay. So we played your EPK, and we took out things that we couldn't say on the radio, but it is an amazing story. So can you tell us from the beginning how it started? Because this whole show is taking people from a dream state to a create state to making it happen. And I know you do that, and you're really hard and tough with these people. And we just want to share, like, you don't let people slide. It's like by the time they want to create it, you actually making them make it happen.
Yeah. And like, which part of the story?
Let's start from. We should probably start from the beginning. Yeah.
How did this all come about?
Yeah. How did it all start?
How did it all start? Gosh, what I think I can focus on is that I understand the power of art to change lives in indescribable ways, and being an artist myself, growing up in Los Angeles and living in very poor communities and then ending up in very privileged communities, I always wanted to ask questions about what was wrong. What's wrong with our world? What's wrong in our community? What's wrong in our family? And the two areas that come up over and over again for me that I see as our biggest issues are financial issues globally and emotional issues. I think that, everybody, no matter where they come from, has emotional baggage and damage. So I really created a process for emotional education and emotional healing utilizing art. And then a byproduct of my process ended up, putting me in a business in the arts. And so a lot of people credit me for discovering Tupac, which is actually not true. He discovered me, and he really saw that I could be a business person that could open a lot of doors for young, talented people. And so I kind of had a dual passion, and that was to help people realize their art dreams and become successful, and at the same time have a formula for giving back. And so what I do now is emotional work with people.
Right.
Does that make sense? Did you follow me?
No, absolutely. Well, for me, I've seen it, and I've seen you at work, and it's just wonderful to watch. And I've seen some, and I got to say, from gangbangers to all sorts of people at your workshops, and sometimes with not a dry eye in the place, because these people are so emotionally involved and invested in what you're doing in these mic sessions. So, one of the things we want to know is, how do these people find you? And then can you tell us more about the beginning, how you started mic sessions, how it came together?
It really started in my living room almost 25 years ago, and I wanted to do assemblies in the schools and address topics that no one was addressing or no one would deal with. And so the first thing I had to do was get a group of core artists that I could work with and create content and material for these assemblies. So it just really started as something that was needs-based. I didn't see a format or an area where we could tackle issues around race, that we could address political issues, that we could address all of these different agendas, sexuality, pain, family violence. And so I wanted to have a process where I would take artists through their own journey, where they would have to examine their own lives, because unless you really look at yourself honestly, then you can't really be a social commentator. So I just created this process where I could have artists really go to the heart of who they were and write from that place instead of, I love American Idol, but American Idol develops artists from the outside in. It's not, this journey to the heart of who someone is, and that's where they develop material. And so that's really the roots of how my workshop started. And then that first year is when Tupac joined us and really changed the course of my work. And so when you talk about the kind of space that I hold when I'm teaching is, this combination of people from every walk of life, from every socioeconomic, culture, class, whatever identities and tags we wear. I really hold a space where we can begin to have a conversation, and that room kind of looks like the world that, and our families often, unless you grow up in a very isolated place where, your family's not mixing with people from other cultures, other countries. But nowadays, the family is kind of the rainbow. We have to look at, our own families and our educational system similarly. So that's really the byproduct of what I started, thinking I was just going to impact education with these assemblies. I later realized if you can cultivate an artist that could kind of grab the nation or the planet's ears, then you've multiplied your work a millionfold. So I really began to focus on Tupac as the first artist that became an artist that really, he is emotional education. We don't always like what he says. Not everyone relates or understands, but he's an artist that grabbed the hearts of the world. And so, all these years later, I'm continuing to grow artists who can really develop, because I was very young at the time that I worked with Tupac, and so now I'm much more experienced, and I'm able to guide an artist to really refining their message, making a decision about what their message, what their service, what their activism is, even if it's just to make money. Let that be defined so we know. And I don't usually gravitate towards those artists, but my specific goal is to develop artists who have social consciousness, who are active, who are world leaders, and then at the same time to have attention on this curriculum that I've written that I think should be K through 12 available. I think every child should start out at a young age and be able to identify all of their feelings and begin to manage their feelings and their pain, and then you in turn can manage behavior, and then we wouldn't have a violent world the way we have now, because we'd have a lot more people that could manage their lives and their experiences.
I love what you say. The whole idea that you're creating emotional education through the arts, that's fantastic. You know, my world has always been about like personal development seminars, and yet you've paired really almost like, you know, an identical process, yet you put so much more passion and power and the whole movement of arts into it, which is really cool. You know, that's totally empowering.
I mean, I'm a child who grew up with parents in the self-help world, and I appreciate how much I learned and the incredible speakers that have come and all the educators. But what's missing in the majority of the work that I've seen is that we have to really look at, especially when we're young, how we learn. And we all have different ways that we process information. But all of that information and all the incredible, gifted self-help people that have guided us haven't always made all this information available to young people who learn through the arts, who learn through sound, who learn through visual work, who learn through these other modalities. And I've just found that music and art take you to a kinetic, chemical experience of love, of pain, of fear, of anger. And then, you know, I went further with my work to really articulate a way that it could be reshaped and that I could train people in my curriculum, but then they could do their own spins. They could take it and do something else with it. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
Right. And Leila, this is Jonathan again, but you know, I know you and I know what you've accomplished and what you keep accomplishing. A lot of people don't know some of the places that you go to. I'm not talking about the foreign places. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But that you don't turn your back on anybody. And can you tell some of the people, like some of your stories that I know of where, you know, where you go visit and the people that you help?
I mean, I've spent 25 years working in the system and juvenile facilities and juvenile halls. I'm still very active in San Quentin right now. I fly to the prison at least once a month to work. And then I was recently in Samoa overseas. That's where I connected with the young man that I actually manage now, and we're planning a return trip. We're actually doing a big fundraising effort now because we're going to be going back to Samoa and working with victim support, which is the only agency in the island that actually works with youth who've been violated sexually, young adults and children. So it's really important because in a lot of cultures we can't talk about things that happen to us because, especially in the Samoan culture, if one person does something to violate another human being, the entire family is ostracized because an entire family is held accountable for what one member of the family does. And it was an incredible experience to go and to really begin to learn how other cultures deal with things. And so that, you know, had me go revisit my curriculum again and adapt it, you know, so that I can implement it overseas. And I spent time in the UK doing work. I was in Germany. I've been, you know, to a lot of other countries. I've been to South Africa because I piloted my work here for a long time in the U.S., and then I had to see if my same process could work in other areas, in other countries, in other regions before I could really say, I think I've developed a process that's effective, that can be sustainable and live without me being there. And so I tested it in other areas, and now I think we've got it.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Leila. This is AJ Poyden. With all the, because I'm really admire your process and what you're doing there, and with all the people that could be helped out there, what's the reason you go to, like, a prison or juvenile halls? Is there something different about those particular people that you see, or what inspires you to work with that particular niche?
Well, that goes back to my looking at what's going on in our country, just as an example, or in our neighborhoods. The reason that we have so many disenfranchised youth of color is we have a history of economics in this country that haven't been balanced. We have two educational systems, and I can, testify to my own experience. As a child, I grew up in very poor neighborhoods. I was born in South Central, and by high school, I ended up on the beach in Malibu. So I've lived in two different worlds. I know how we educate poor people, and I know how we educate wealthy people. And we're taught two completely different things, and I've experienced both. And so I began to look at who's filling the halls in the prisons, primarily poor people of color, and the cycles that perpetuate those in the system. And that, once upon a time, we had a country that survived off of slave labor. It's a fact. We took people from other countries and brought them here to work. And we never rectified the pain that came out of slavery. We never addressed a history of, free and cheap labor. And so this is the byproduct. Now we have a prison system that is a huge industry, and no adequate education for poor people struggling. And so we warehouse and storehouse young people who have brilliant minds and no direction. And so we have misuse of power and brilliance, and I wanted to interrupt those cycles.
Fantastic.
And that's why I wanted to create a process where I could get them young. And so if you have a process that you can go into a juvenile hall or go into a prison and actually have an impact, then gosh, if you can have an impact in the hardest places, then if you could distribute your work K through 12 nationwide and somehow find funding to train people in it, then you could really have an impact. Because I know that I've had an impact in impossible places, and so now that's what I'm working towards now.
Yeah, developing a process like that is powerful, and the Spider-Man quote of Uncle Ben thing, with great power comes great responsibility. So it's like you have this process, so you have this responsibility to get it out there for those people who want it. Now, a lot of people want to make a big difference in the world. I meet a lot of people who say that. What's different about you or the people that you surround yourself that actually go out there and make a difference versus those who just say they want to make a difference?
I mean, the fundamental difference between anyone is, their attitude towards something. And so, for whatever resources and gifts I have, I've always had a strong sense of belief and that I could achieve something. And so we have to help people reframe their belief systems and to really understand that even medical science can't explain why people can heal themselves. And so we have to understand there's something much more tangible that we may not be able to articulate that comes with the power of one's mind.
All right. Well, Leila, could you hold on just a moment? Because I'm loving this conversation. I want to ask you a few more questions. And we're going to go to a quick sponsor break, and we'll be right back on Create It Now radio show.
The best television isn't on television. It's on the internet. Log on to realwisdomtv.com for thousands of hours of motivational and inspiring content. On demand, all the time. Unlike network television with its sex, drugs, and rock and roll, realwisdomtv.com provides wellness, wealth, and wisdom. From how to read faster to creating greater wealth, realwisdomtv.com is for you. The learning never stops, and neither does realwisdomtv.com. Log on now to realwisdomtv.com.
Hey, it's Roxy from the 702 Rock Show, right here at VegasAllNetRadio.com. Listen to my show every Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. to hear about local artists, musicians, fashion designers, and more right here in Las Vegas. So tune in every Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. to hear me, Michelle Roxy Davis, right here at VANR on the 702 Rock Show.
Welcome back to Create It Now. The phone lines are open at 731-1230. Here again, your hosts, Jonathan Stone, Dawn Elizabeth, and AJ Boyden.
Welcome back to the Create It Now radio show. If you're just tuning in, Jonathan and I are speaking to Leila Steinberg. And if you have a question or a comment, or you want to know more about how you can help spread the process and the message of what Leila's doing, you can email us at createitnowmedia.com or use the message feature on our website at createitnowmedia.com. And
so Leila, I'm more blown away watching AJ over here. AJ is usually really quiet, and he is getting so enthralled with what you do. And it's like people have to really see what you do to understand it. It's amazing. Now, how can people get in touch with you as well if they want to be part of it? Or how can we help also get it out to other cities?
I'm pretty accessible. I mean, I'm on Instagram and Twitter and all the media is just at Leila Steinberg. I can be emailed at leilasteinberg@gmail.com. Only if someone's really seriously interested. I have a website, www.alternativeinterventionmodels.org. Alternativeinterventionmodels.org. A little bit long. We're about to rebrand and shorten it. But for now, you can find me there, Facebook. And we really need donations. So if anybody's out there and want to sponsor one of our efforts or bring us in for an assembly, a training in your area, or anything along those lines, I would love to come. So
yeah, and Leila, you do an
thank
you do an amazing job. No, we're not done with you. Yeah, you're not going anywhere. One thing I don't know if people understand, and if you could tell them, and this is truth, I mean, really how tough you are with these people. So when you say these kids have to be serious, please explain like how serious they have to be. Like I said, it's really hard for people to understand because unless they see it, because I've been through that process with you, I've watched it, and you do not play games. If people are late, I want people to know, like, you will help people go to that next level, but they have to be committed.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one thing you also learn in communities where people have enough privilege to understand what a blessing it is to have education. We invest in ourselves. We pay for classes. We put energy in to expand our education. And it's a struggle to teach young people who don't come from much how blessed we are that we have access to education. And so I have to have at least some sense of commitment and follow through from people. Consistency is so important that, usually in the beginning I start out a little rougher. Otherwise I won't have the consistency and the commitment that's needed for growth, for change, for overcoming anything.
So what kind of assignments do you give your students to, in terms of emotional?
I give a lot of reading assignments. I bring in a lot of literature, and then I give writing assignments. The best work comes out of writing from our own struggles. And so every week we have a word or a topic that we're all writing on together. It doesn't matter what our genre is, what our art form. We all write. You know, I could have a country artist, a rapper, a singer all in the same room, an actor. And these are the sessions specifically for artists. So let's say I'm in a 9th grade classroom with all 9th grade girls and boys. I give the topic of pain or loss. I usually start with the negatives. All kids and people usually relate more in the negatives, and then later you grow into the positives. But, you know, I've learned over the years that it's easy to be in solidarity over identifying in something that we've all gone through that's difficult or painful. So then, you know, this group of 9th graders all have to write about, you know, their most identifiable, most painful experience. And then they all share their pieces, and they begin to have a dialogue. And what happens in that process is unbelievable. And then I'll bring in musical artists that we all have to analyze together, or listen to together, so that we learn to be better listeners. And
I think that's great advice for all the adults and listeners, you know, that we have too.
Yes.
You know, like everybody, right?
So, what percentage of your students do you feel make breakthroughs, and which ones actually like leave the program? Or, yeah.
I mean, I've got people who've been with me now for 20 years from the beginning. That's kind of how you show the sustainability of a program when you have 20 years later and you still have a lot of the same people and people who've gone on to have very successful careers. I have a number of doctors that were in my program. I have, you know, Harvard and Stanford, Yale graduates. And then I have, you know, people who go on and run a retail stores, and that is fine for them, and that's their dream, and that's a beautiful thing. So I have, you know, a lot of people. I've had thousands over the years. And
are your programs just in the California area, or the programs all over?
well, there are people who've done trainings with me, and they have their own programs now. So that's why I'm saying it's hard to qualitate and quantify results when they're so diverse. But as far as me teaching active, consistent programs, California is where we have most of our programs, and then I'll go and do workshops or trainings in other areas.
Well,
so that other people can continue.
Yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak to us here. So before we let you go here, imagine we have, there's someone very important listening to the show right now, and they need to hear a special message. They're out there, they want to create something in their life, and they're struggling and they're feeling pain in that creation mode. What advice would you give them?
I don't know if I got your question, but you're saying what's the most immediate advice I could give somebody?
Sure. Yes.
I think that that one of the most important things that starts and changes everything is the pen and paper. I think that in order to create change, you have to start writing it into your brain. So you have to physically sit down and just begin to create something on paper so you see it. And then, continuing that process, there's a lot more to that. But I think right here, right now, everything starts with a thought. Sit down, write that first paragraph, take the first step, and write yourself into a new reality.
All right, that is amazing. Leila, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to post your stuff on our website as well, the Create It Now radio website and Create It Now Media. And we're going to help you as any way we can. And we'll send people to you, and we'll just keep this thing growing. And when you come into Las Vegas, we would love to have you here in the studio.
You are listening
thank you all.
Thank you, Leila. You're awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Well, pleasure.
You are listening to the Create It Now radio show. Once again, go check out our website, createitnowmedia.com. Email us your questions and comments and compliments to createit@createitnowmedia.com. And we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hi, everyone, this is New Media Vegas, your Sin City webmasters in Las Vegas, Nevada.
More than just web design, complete integrated marketing with inspired innovations in delivery of your new media message, putting the groove and the backbeat back in your brand.
The hottest in design trends with the latest innovations in marketing techniques. Call New Media Vegas at 702-517-0184.
Or visit us online at www.newmediavegas.com. Don't forget to check out our online magazine, Sin City Presents, featuring business, technology, fashion, dining, and entertainment news.
702-517-0184. 702-517-0184. We're blowing it out at Gene Woods Racing Experience, Las Vegas's newest premier outdoor adrenaline-powered gasoline go-karting track with speeds in excess of 45 miles per hour if you've got the balls. We've got 2-for-1 Tuesdays, buy one and your friend rides free. We've got $5 off coupons, and remember, on your birthday, members ride free. And they get a free Gene Woods Racing Experience t-shirt, open Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. till 11. Saturday and Sunday, noon till 11. And we're located at 121 East Sunset Road in Las Vegas Boulevard at the Sports Center across from McCarran Airport. Come blow the doors off your competition at Gene Woods Racing Experience. Once you race here, you won't go anywhere else. Be there. Be there.
Are you ready to make more money? Do you want to set yourself apart in your industry? Then you need to join the USA Victory Tour. Jace Suter will be sharing the 3 key skills of how he went from a brand new idea to earning over 5 figures in one day. The USA Victory Tour will be in 18 cities across the U.S. Where will they be next? Find out at usavictorytour.com. Don't see your city listed? Bring the USA Victory Tour to your city. Log on now to usavictorytour.com. When small business wins, America wins.
This is Les Brown, Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. Those of you that are listening, I encourage you to listen to Create It Now, because it will teach you how to live full and die empty, how to begin to manifest your greatness and make your mark.
You are listening to the Create It Now radio show, and we are back. This is AJ Pueda, and I'm here with Jonathan Stone. And wow, thank you, Jonathan, for bringing Leila to the show. This is one that I'm going to tell people definitely to go to our website and play back and listen to more.
Yes, and I'm so happy that Leila was able to call in and explain what she does. And this is what we're all about. It's about create it now, make it happen. And Leila, she goes to prisons. She doesn't care what race, religion, or anything you are. She believes in the person that you are and what's inside of you. And like I said, I've seen it, and I've seen some of the toughest people in the world. They're scary and not a dry eye in the room. And you're like, wow, because the emotions are so huge. And when she trains somebody, it's not like they're a rap or something. They're a poet, and they dig so deep in. It's just really wonderful.
When you first told me, let's get her on the show, and I said, well, who is she? And she does, and you said, well, she helped, kind of discover Tupac. And I was like, it's like I don't know if I can even relate to this story. It's like, how does she fit into, the whole Create It Now idea? And I didn't think I would really kind of connect with this at all, and I am totally connected on this. My wife and I, my whole life has always been about getting people to be more introspective, know what you're thinking, and being able to communicate that whole idea of emotional education, emotional healing, and doing it through the arts. That's fantastic.
Yes, it's one of those wonderful things where when you learn to be able to communicate and to bring it out, if it's an art or music, song.
Now, to me, it doesn't have to be just poetry or rapping or write a song. I think people can express themselves, their emotional selves, in many different ways. For myself, I was telling Elisa yesterday that I don't sing. If I could do anything, I wish I could sing more. And yet I'm a hypnotist. I'm a motivational speaker. I do affirmations. I do programmings. I do motivational speeches. And even though it's not there's no music in the background, that's my song. You know, I sing by inspiring other people, starting off with inspiring myself.
Yeah, and I did stand-up for many, many years. And it's interesting because it's like therapy. You get to stand on stage and say what you want and inspire people with laughter. And it's so important to put pen to paper and always be prepared. That's one thing I really learned.
So I got a question for our listeners. Go to our Facebook page. That's probably a great place for you to post it. I want you to answer this question. How do you express your emotions? What do you do? Is there an art form that you do? Do you do it through dance? Do you do it through writing? Do you do it through cooking? You know, how do you express your emotions and who you are?
And their creativity. Yeah, because a lot of people, they're bottled in. And this way, with the whole Created Now thing, and what we always talk about is angels and people helping, and within the next week, we're going to find a place where people can come in and help. You know what? That's what we're going to commit to. And we're going to find either a charity or we're going to work together as a team and create a new project.
Yeah. You know, the show has just started. Thank you, everybody, for being with us during our second week. And right now we are looking, we're in the building the community phase, and I am looking very much forward to getting into the more action phases where we're really contributing to the community a lot more.
Right. But before we went to Leila, you were actually telling us a story about, going through depression and stuff like that. What brought you back out of that, and what inspired you to become a speaker? I mean, from being depressed and quiet to actually wanting to share.
In fact, I was on antidepressants, and I think the whole idea of antidepressants is make the person feel so physically bad that they're distracted from their emotions. It was just like a bad thing.
Just numb you constantly.
Yeah. And I was last chair, voted most quiet clarinet player in the band, and the student was ready, teacher appeared, and my whole life my dad was a very big source of inspiration, very personal development, be a champion, be number one, and I heard it all my life. And yet as a teenager, being able to apply it, I didn't know how to do that. And I met a mentor who showed me exactly how to put it into my life. And so I went from that last chair voted most quiet clarinet player to the person who would go through depression competitions. And if you were a depressed teen, you might understand what I'm saying there. It's when there's someone who's depressed next to you, and you had to show them up that you were more depressed than they were.
Oh, that sounds like fun. Yeah, I want to go to that party.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like I thought that was a way to connect with people. Like how many people connect with each other by complaining, right? And it's just that I didn't have a positive way of doing things. And I think that's what Leila's doing. Here are people who are frustrated and angry, and they want to connect with other people. However, they don't know how to connect with them in positive ways. They only know how to connect with people in negative ways. And so, my mentor showed me how to connect in positive ways, went from that clarinet player, quiet clarinet player, to getting the most inspirational award in the entire school. So it really helped me come out of my shell completely. And it was that I started talking to myself better, started talking to my friends better, and giving them positive affirmations and positive talk and belief. And I think that's what we're all really looking for, just to have someone believe in us,
right.
And more importantly,
believe in ourselves. Yeah, like one thing with me, I always try to be positive, and maybe that's how I'm drawn to these people, or these people draw me in. But you also know there's a lot of negativity and a lot of negative people there. And like my mom is somebody funny. She'll talk to anybody. And she knows more about anybody than I do, about anybody, friends or whatever. I'll be like, I don't know. Because I'm the person that's scared to ask people how they're doing, because they'll tell me. I'm like, people ask me how I'm doing. I'm like, things are great. Things are amazing. It's getting better every second. But where other people are like, oh, my God, I just had the worst day. This person cut me off. And I'm like, oh, my God. I'm just like, stop already. Enough, But a lot of people love to sit there and just talk about the bad things instead of talking about the good things or sharing a positive story. I mean, I will talk to anybody in a supermarket. I'll talk to anybody anywhere. Anybody who asks me how I'm doing, I'm always amazing, or it's just getting better every minute.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're going to have a conversation with someone, you have two choices. It's either going to be the negative conversation or a more positive one. True. Some people need to vent every now and then, but do you need to vent all the time? There's this thing I see happen a lot around personal development where people say, I don't have room for negative people. I just cut the negative people out of my life forever, and that's their attitude with that. And I'm such a loving person. I have a hard time even cutting the negative people out because I think they're negative. They need help. I don't want to cut them out. That's not me. So what I've chosen
I'm going to give all the negative people in my life your phone number, and they can hang out on your address.
Well, yeah. This is what I do. Instead of cutting them out, I utilize them. In other words, there's those days where I need to vent, right? And so I live in this positive bubble pretty much my life. And yet every now and then when I have those days where I just need to vent and just, shout and complain, what I do is I call up one of my negative friends, and they are so happy to complain with me. They love it.
So basically, you use them to make yourself feel better. Yeah,
it's like watching The Simpsons.
Okay, my life sucks, but yours sucks that much more. So you know what? I'm having a really good day. No, that's a great idea. I should just keep that list of people. You know what?
And then you just leave the conversation.
But you know what blows me away about all this? Social media now, like Facebook. I can't believe how many times I go on Facebook, and this is from adults as well.
Oh yeah.
And they just write the worst things or the most negative, or if they've gotten to an argument with somebody. And I was just actually talking to somebody recently who was telling me that one of their friends broke up with somebody, and it was all over Facebook. Like, they wrote, like, I'm in the middle of a breakup, I'm going through this, all this personal information. And it's why. I only write positive things on Facebook. I mean, it could be funny, I could have fun with it, but it's positive. I would never write, like, I'm standing on top of a roof about to jump or something like that. Mm-hmm. Just nothing negative. So what's your thoughts about that?
Well, what you focus on expands, and we move in directions of our most dominant thoughts. So, as far as like emotional intelligence, I don't necessarily want to ignore all the negative. I allow other people to vent. I just don't take it on. When I see those comments, I'll either remove them from my news feed or unfriend them, if they constantly that way. And yet every now and then it's like, oh, okay, is this person just complain to complain, or are they saying, hey, help me turn this around? I have people said, hey, I have had a bad day. Anyone, give me a prayer. It's like, oh, okay, this person wants something turned around.
Well, you get that. Or when people ask for prayers for other people, I get that. But when people continuously, vent or things are bad,
then we got to unfriend.
Exactly. But that's why Creative Now is here. So everybody should be happy and excited and enjoy life. And be part of the Creative Now community.
Yeah. Hey, before we take off, I got to give a shout out to my kids, Jack and Samantha. I love you, love you. Yesterday, I told Samantha, I think about you all the time. She goes, then how come you don't say my name on the radio? So there you go, Samantha. I love you so much. They're my 5-year-old twins. Anyways, that's all the time we have for today. You are listening to the Create It Now radio show. You can re-listen to our broadcast on Vegas AllNet Radio at 11 p.m. to midnight. We are on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and we'll be back tomorrow with our guest, Kelly O'Neill. And let's see, what else do I need to say? Oh, check out
Michael Roban. Michael Roban is coming in.
Fantastic. All right. Check us out on createitnowmedia.com. Thank you for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Take care. Bye-bye.